If you've ever walked past a quiet river at night and felt like something was watching you, you're not wrong. And if Tanya had listened to her first fear, she might not have ended up trapped in a place no map could ever show. Tanya wasn't the type of girl people noticed. Not because she wasn't smart or kind, but because her life was always noise, chores, and orders from people who treated her like she was just there. Every day looked the same: wake up before sunrise, sweep the yard, cook, fetch water, clean, repeat. Her aunt and cousins treated her like a live-in helper instead of family. She kept quiet, kept her head down, and kept her pain to herself. But she didn't know that the more invisible she felt, the more visible she became to something else. That something was waiting for her at the river long before she ever got the courage to go near it at night. Tanya's story starts on a night when she thought the danger was inside her own home. She had no idea the real danger lived outside. Tonight's story isn't about ghosts jumping out or monsters hiding under beds. It's about a real-life place people in her village never went after dark. A river people whispered about. A river people respected. A river people feared. This video will show you what happened when a girl ignored every warning sign, why something from that river became obsessed with her, and how one moment she thought would give her peace became the moment that changed everything. And trust me, the ending is nothing you expect. Let's dive into it. Body explanation. Tanya lived with her aunt after her parents passed away. Her aunt wasn't cruel, but she wasn't loving either. She treated Tanya like extra hands for chores, always busy, always tired, always blamed when something broke, burned, or simply existed. Her cousins didn't help. They mocked her clothes, her silence, her cooking, her hair, everything. Tanya learned to move like a shadow, fast, quiet, and unnoticed except by one person, Musa. Musa grew up with her. They played together as kids, fought over mangoes, raced through dusty paths, and laughed so loudly people told them to calm down. But as they got older, Musa became one of the few people who actually cared about her. He noticed the things she never said. Tanya, you're always tired, he would tell her, and she would shrug. I'm fine. But she wasn't. She just knew nobody would listen. One evening after cooking dinner for her aunt's family, Tanya went to bathe in the small outside bathroom, a tiny enclosure made from rusted metal and old wood. She always rushed, always afraid. It wasn't safe. She felt it every day. That night, while washing her face, she heard something, like a shoe crushing dry leaves. Then again, hello, she whispered. Nothing. Just silence thick enough to touch. She stepped out quickly, heart racing. Someone had been there. She didn't know who. But she knew why. That night she couldn't sleep. She told Musa the next morning, expecting him to joke like he always did. But he didn't laugh. Tanya, you're not safe in that bathroom, he said quietly. If you ever feel watched again, leave immediately. Don't take chances. She nodded, but she didn't know where else to go. She didn't have a choice. Or so she thought. Later that week, while fetching firewood at sunset, she overheard two old women talking near the well. That river, one whispered. No one goes there at night. Never. The water there sees things. Takes things, the other replied. You step there alone after dark, and you don't come back the same. A chill shot through Tanya's body. She didn't believe in superstitions. But she believed in instincts, and hers told her to stay away. The problem. Tanya had run out of safe places. That night after dinner, she walked toward the bathroom again. Her heart was pounding. The shadows around the old structure felt heavier than before. She raised her lantern, took one step in, heard breathing, fast, low, close. That did it. She backed out immediately and ran. She needed somewhere else. Somewhere nobody would find her, watch her, or follow her. Her legs carried her before her mind could stop them, straight toward the forest, straight toward the river. Introduce a problem. The path was narrow and silent. Her lantern flickered like it wanted to warn her. But fear pushed her forward. When she reached the riverside, she froze. The water didn't move like normal water. It wasn't flowing, it was shimmering. Even without wind, little ripples formed as if the river was breathing slow, steady breaths. Tanya stepped closer. Maybe it was just the moon. Maybe she was tired. Maybe she was imagining everything. She knelt down, touched the surface, and the water felt colder than she expected, cold like it wasn't part of the night around it, but she was desperate. She needed to wash away sweat, fear, and the feeling of being watched. She stepped into the river, the water wrapped around her ankles, her legs, then her waist, cold enough to make her shiver. But for the first time in weeks, she felt free. No chores. No yelling. No eyes watching her, just silence. She stayed longer than she meant to, soaking in the peace. For the first time in a long time, she felt like herself, but someone, or something, had been waiting for that. She began walking out of the river, wrapping her cloth around her body. As she picked up her lantern, she heard a splash behind her. She turned fast. Nothing. She took one step into the forest, another splashed, this one closer. Her heart beat so fast she felt dizzy. She raised her lantern toward the water. The river was calm, too calm. She slowly backed away. A whisper drifted across the water. Tanya. She dropped her lantern. Her breath vanished. Her name floated again, quiet, soft, and coming from nowhere. Tanya. She bolted, running through the trees barefoot, leaves stabbing her feet, branches scraping her arms, but she didn't stop. She didn't look back, not once. She burst out of the forest and into the open space behind her aunt's house, gasping for air as she didn't sleep that night either. She just kept hearing her name in the wind. The next morning, Musa came to check on her. She tried to brush him off, but he noticed the scratches on her arms immediately. What happened to you? He whispered. She paused. If she told him, he would worry. Maybe he wouldn't believe her. Maybe he'd think she was losing her mind. So she lied. Nothing. I just fell. But Musa wasn't stupid. He followed her eyes, saw how they darted toward the forest, saw her trembling hands, saw her lips pressing together like she was holding back words. He sighed deeply. Tanya, if something is wrong, you have to tell me. I'm your friend. Her voice was small. I think something followed me. From where? She hesitated. From the river. Musa's face changed immediately. His shoulders stiffened. His eyes widened for half a second, and then he whispered, You didn't go there at night, did you? She looked down. He ran his hand through his hair. Tanya, nobody goes there at night. Nobody. People say the river has eyes. She swallowed hard. Musa? I heard it call my name. Musa stared at her like he was trying to decide whether to believe her or drag her to the chief immediately. Tanya, he said slowly, don't ever go back there. Not even during the day. Promise me. She opened her mouth, and that's when a sound cut through the air. A splash. A loud, sharp, single splash, coming from the forest. Both of them turned toward the trees. Musa grabbed her wrist instantly inside. Now. He pulled her toward the house. But as they ran, Tanya felt something, a coldness brushing the back of her neck, almost like the river had followed her out of the forest. That night, she barely moved from her mat. Every few minutes, she felt something like droplets falling on her skin, but when she touched her arms, they were dry. The next night, everything changed. Tanya woke up to a sound she would never forget, a drip. She sat up, confused. It sounded like water, but her room was dry. She slowly got up, opened her door, and stepped outside. The entire yard was quiet, too quiet. Then the sound came again, drip, drip. She lifted her lantern and followed the sound around the back of the house. Her breath caught in her chest. There, on the ground, were wet footprints, fresh, leading toward the forest, leading toward her. She took one step back. Something moved behind her. She turned slowly. Something was standing near the path. It wasn't fully visible. Just a tall blur, shimmering like water in human shape. Its voice was soft. Tanya, you heard me. You answered me. Now come. Her legs froze, her throat dried. She couldn't speak. The figure tilted its head and whispered, You came to my river. Now the river has come to you. Tanya tried to scream, but no sound came out. Her knees buckled. The world darkened. The next morning, Musa knocked on her door. No answer. He called her name. No answer. He pushed the door open. Her bed was empty. Her slippers were missing. Her lantern was found near the forest edge, lying beside a single wet footprint that stopped suddenly, like the owner of that foot had been swallowed by the air. No one ever saw Tanya again, but sometimes, late at night, when the river is quiet and the moon is bright, villagers say they see a girl standing in the water. Not moving, not breathing, just watching, waiting for someone else to call.